In 1981, millions of Americans carried a simple silver-colored coin in their pockets every single day. It was small, light, and almost invisible in value. Just 10 cents. A dime. Most people used it without thinking, for payphones, parking meters, soda machines, and toll booths. Nobody stopped to stare at it. Nobody imagined that one of those dimes could be worth far more than 10 cents. And yet, hidden among the ordinary 1981 dimes are rare pieces worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Some were minted in error. Others were made in perfect condition and survived untouched. Some came with tiny differences, nearly impossible to see unless you knew exactly what to look for. The story of the 1981 dime is not just about money. It's about how something so common can silently become priceless. The dime minted in 1981 features the profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the front, a leader remembered for guiding America through the Great Depression and World War II. His portrait is surrounded by the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date, 1981. On the reverse sits the torch of freedom, flanked by olive branches and oak leaves. A symbol of peace and strength. But not all 1981 dimes are the same. Some were made in Philadelphia and carry no mint mark. Some came from Denver with a small D next to Roosevelt's neck. And some were struck in San Francisco with an S mint mark, created only for proof sets meant for collectors. These proof coins were not intended for circulation, but some found their way into circulation anyway, and that's where the real treasure hunt begins. But what makes a 1981 dime valuable? For some, it's the condition. Most dimes from 1981 are worn out, beaten from decades of use. The shiny finish is gone. The torch is faded. The lettering is weak. But a few, a very few, were saved before they could be damaged. They stayed in mint rolls, tucked away in drawers or sealed sets. Coins like these can be graded. If a 1981 dime receives a high grade like MS-66 or MS-67, collectors will pay big money. Some of these so-called perfect dimes have sold for $200 or more, even without errors. All because they still shine like the day they were struck. Then come the errors, the accidents of the mint that today are worth a fortune. Imagine picking up a dime and noticing something strange. Maybe the front is perfectly centered, but the back is shifted. Or maybe the coin looks like it's melting, with part of the rim missing or bent. That could be an off-center strike or a clipped planchet error. Some errors are even more dramatic. Some 1981 dimes were struck on the wrong metal planchet, meaning the blank disc used was meant for another denomination. Imagine a dime struck on a penny planchet. It would be copper instead of silver. Or a dime struck on a foreign coin planchet, thin, light, the color slightly off. These are incredibly rare, and when they appear at auction, collectors go wild. Some of these wrong planchet dimes have sold for over $1,000. There are also missing clad layer errors. Modern dimes are made of a copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel. But sometimes, one of those nickel layers peels away or never gets applied. This creates a half-silver, half-copper appearance. One side of the coin looks normal, while the other looks reddish-brown. At first glance, it looks damaged. But in reality, it could be worth hundreds. And then there are double dies. If you look at the words, "Liberty" or "In God We Trust," and see a shadow or doubling of the letters, that could be a double die error. Some collectors spend hours examining their coins with magnifiers just to find one of these. Even a faint doubling, if verified, can bring serious money. Some double die dimes from other years have sold for more than $500. A strong 1981 double die would generate intense demand. But the most fascinating part of the 1981 dime story lies in the San Francisco Mint. That year, two different types of proof mint marks were produced, Type 1 and Type 2. On the Type 1 proof dimes, the S mint mark is blurry and filled in, almost looking like a blob. On the Type 2 coins, the S mint mark is sharp and clear. The Type 2 dimes are much rarer. If you find a 1981 S dime with a crisp, clear mint mark, especially in original mirror-like proof condition, you could be looking at serious value. Some have sold for more than $400, depending on grade. And that's just for one dime. Most people walk past change on the ground. Most people throw dimes into cups or boxes without even looking at them. But coin collectors, or treasure hunters, as some like to call themselves, know better. They know that history hides in plain sight. They know that fortune doesn't always come in gold or dollars. Sometimes, it comes in the form of a tiny silver disc weighing only 2.27 grams. And the beauty of hunting for a 1981 dime treasure is that it costs nothing. You don't have to buy anything. Just look at the change you already have. Look at the coins in your kitchen drawer, in your car, in your old piggy bank. Ask your parents. Ask your grandparents. Somewhere out there, a rare 1981 dime is hiding, waiting for someone with enough curiosity to pick it up and give it a second look. So how do you begin? First, flip the dime and check for a mint mark. If there's no letter, it's from Philadelphia. If you see a D, it's from Denver. If there's an S, you might have a proof coin. Hold it to the light. Is it extra shiny? Does it reflect like a mirror? That could mean it's a proof that escaped circulation. Then, examine the edges. Is it perfectly round? Or does part of the rim look cut or clipped? That could be a planchet error. Look at the torch. Are the bands across it fully defined? Full band dimes, where the stripes are perfectly split, can sometimes bring higher value due to their strong strikes. Then weigh it if you can. A normal 1981 dime should weigh 2.27 grams. If it weighs significantly more or less, it might be struck on the wrong metal. That alone could make it worth hundreds. Finally, check for doubling on the letters and numbers. Any unusual thickness or shadow-like effect is worth investigating. Most people ignore the smallest things in life. They chase big dreams and overlook the tiny signs. But sometimes, the tiniest things hold the biggest surprises. A 1981 dime may seem insignificant. But one error, one perfect strike, one forgotten proof coin, that's all it takes to turn 10 cents into a treasure. The next time someone hands you change, don't just drop it into a jar without thinking. Hold it. Look at it closely. Because one day, when you least expect it, a fortune might be sitting quietly in the palm of your hand. The 1981 dime is a reminder that value is not always obvious. But it is always waiting for someone patient enough to find it.